Hi and welcome to White Coat. Today I'm going to get directly to the main topic of our episode, which is ADHD. It is an extremely important topic that touches a lot of our families and our kids. Why it's extremely important? Because statistics indicate that 11% of our kids between the age of 6 and 17 years old have ADHD. It's almost 1 of every 9 kids has ADHD. And today, we'll discuss the symptoms, diagnosis, and the latest line of treatments with one of the top-ranked psychiatrists in California, Dr. Keerthy Sunder. So please get ready for that important topic. And if you have any question, send those questions and message us on our official Facebook page for White Coat, which will be shown on the screen now. Or email us on whitecoat@karmatv.com. If you want to communicate with the program and the guest directly on air, call the phone numbers that will be shown on the screen now from anywhere in the world, and you can use the Viber service for free. I cannot start the show today without thanking you, the White Coat audience, for your wonderful interaction and support for the program. The good news now, you can see the previous episodes on White Coat page on Alkarma website, and it will be shown on the screen now. Pick whatever topic you want and you're interested in, and you can watch it. Or you can watch them on our official Facebook page. And please continue your support for White Coat by sharing, following our page on Facebook, which will be shown on the screen now again, to extend the service and benefit to more people and get the latest news and episodes of White Coat. أعزائي مشاهدي الكرمة، قناة الكرمة في كل مكان في العالم. بحب أرحب بيكم في حلقة جديدة من وايت كوت. النهاردة حابب إن أنا أكلمكم عن موضوع الحلقة على طول، لأنه موضوع الحلقة موضوع مهم بيمس كل الأسر وكل الأطفال. ليه هو موضوع مهم؟ عشان تقريبا الإحصائيات بتقول إنه 11% من أطفالنا في السن ما بين 7 ل 16 سنة تقريبا بيعانوا من ال ADHD. النهاردة أو مرض نقص التركيز، بنسميه بالعربي نقص التركيز وفرط النشاط الحركي في الأطفال. بيبقى نشاطهم الحركي كبير جدا، تركيزهم قليل جدا، وقت تركيزهم أقل. وبالتالي النهارده هيكون معانا واحد من أحسن السايكايتريست في كاليفورنيا اللي هيكلمنا عن الموضوع ده، دكتور كيرثي سوندر. ما اقدرش ابتدي الحلقه النهارده من غير ما اشكركم شكر كبير جدا على تفاعلكم والدعم اللي بتدعموه لنا على صفحتنا على الفيسبوك. هتبقى موجودة دلوقتي على الشاشة قدامنا. تفاعلوا معانا، ابعتوا لنا كل أسئلتكم، اجهزوا بأي أسئلة عن نقص التركيز وفرط النشاط الحركة في الأطفال بالذات من سن 7 ل 16 سنة. كمان عايز أقول لحضراتكم إنه الجديد عندنا إنه أنتوا تقدروا تتابعوا كل الحلقات اللي فاتتكم على الويب سايت بتاع الكرمة. ممكن تدخلوا على الصفحة بتاعتنا هتطلع دلوقتي على الشاشة، تقدروا تختاروا أي حلقة من الحلقات ال5 اللي فاتتكم قبل كده وتشوفوهم على الفيسبوك بتاعتنا. بشكركم تاني على دعمكم وتعضيدكم لينا على صفحتنا على الفيسبوك. هنطلعها تاني قدامكم على الشاشة عشان تبتدوا تشوفوها وتتفاعلوا معانا. ابعتوا لنا كل أسئلتكم عن موضوع حلقتنا النهاردة ال ADHD أو نقص التركيز وزيادة النشاط الحركي في الأطفال. خليكم معانا ويلا نبتدي حلقتنا النهاردة. In Healthy Hemp segment today, we'll discuss the most important 5 crucial medical tests for men above 35 years old. And they are: number 1, heart tests. On average, men die 10 years younger than men, which is expected, lucky them, because of the heart attacks. But there are really important heart tests you can take to avoid the risk factors. For example, getting your blood pressure checked at least once a month, and get an annual EKG. One more important factor, if your waist got more than 40 inches around your waist, it is a red flag for heart disease in the future. Number 2 test is fasting blood test for blood fats and blood sugar. This test determines the level of the good cholesterol, HDL, and the bad cholesterol, LDL, and triglycerides. Number 3 test is rectal exam and PSA test. And usually men start that test around age of 50, and they should be screened for prostate enlargement and prostate cancer, and get a blood test done for PSA, especially if there is a family history of prostate cancer. Number 4 test is colonoscopy. Colonoscopy, usually men started at the age of 50, and men should get regular colonoscopies unless they have a family history of colon cancer, then you need to start sooner. Number 5 is skin exam. And again, women are more likely to wear sunscreen. It's in their makeup already naturally. Lucky them, they don't get skin cancer as men. It's recommended that men have a head-to-toe skin exam looking for early signs of skin cancer. أعزائي مشاهدي وايت كوت من الرجال، النهاردة هتكون كلامنا معاكم عن 5 أنواع من الفحوصات لازم تعملوهم خاصة بعد سن ال 35. رقم 1 مهم جدا ان انتوا تهتموا بفحوصات سلامة القلب، وده بنعمل ليه 2 نوعين من الفحوصات. الاولاني هو ان انت ببساطة شديدة جدا تشيك ضغط الدم، او دايما تروح للدكتور او اي صيدلية قريبة منك، ممكن يكون عندك جهاز في البيت وباستمرار تتشيك الضغط الدم بتاعك. الحاجة التانية مرة كل سنة تعمل رسم قلب. النقطة الثانية المهمة جدا ان انت لازم تعمل فحوصات دم خاصة بالكوليسترول، عشان ده مهم جدا، والدهون عالية الكثافة والدهون منخفضة الكثافة، لانه ده مهم جدا ان انت تعمله اتليست مرة في السنة بعد سن ال 35، عشان معروف علميا انه الرجالة بتموت 10 سنين اصغر من الستات. طبعا بيخلصوا علينا، بس لازم نعمل التست ده كل سنة لانه مهم جدا. فاكتور مهم تاني انه لو الوسط بتاعك اكتر من 40 انش، يعني حوالي تقريبا 100 سنتي، ده فاكتور مش كويسه ان انت ممكن تصاب بمشاكل في القلب على المدى الطويل. ثالث تيست عاده بنعمله بعد سن ال 50 في الرجاله، وهو سلامه البروستاتا بتاعتك. طبيعي جدا انه الرجاله بعد سن ال 50 بتبتدي البروستاتا تزيد في الحجم وتعمل لهم مشاكل اثناء التبول. عشان كده بيفضل ان احنا نروح للدكتور بعد سن ال 50 نعمل التست ده مره كل سنه. الحاجه الرابعه المهمه جدا هو منظار القولون. عاده في الغالب انه معظم مشاكل سرطان القولون بتبتدي بعد سن ال 50، عشان كده بنفضل بعد سن ال 50 نروح مره كل سنتين، حتى ان احنا نعمل مره كل 10 سنين ان احنا نعمل كولونوسكوبي او منظار للقولون مره واحده كل 10 سنين بعد سن ال 50، إلا إذا في تاريخ مرضي في العيلة لسرطان القولون، فلازم نبتديه بدري 10 سنين من أصغر واحد جات له المشكلة دي في العيلة. الحاجة الخامسة وده المهم جدا، وكالمعتاد الستات أكثر حظا فيها إن هم أقل مننا في إنه يجي لهم سكين كانسر أو كانسر في الجلد، لأن هم اوريدي بيستخدموا السان سكرين أو السان بروتكشن في المكياج بتاعهم، فده بيخليهم أقل عرضة مننا لسرطان الجلد. وبالتالي يفضل ان احنا بعد سن ال 35 مع التعرض لكل الانواع من الشمس والكلام ده، ان احنا نروح للدكتور ونتاكد، نتفحص من راسنا لرجلينا زي ما بنقول، ونتاكد انه ما فيش اي مشاكل في جلدنا. Today in Healthy Hair segment, we'll go over tips to eating healthy during pregnancy. Number 1 tip is do not forget your breakfast. Please don't skip your breakfast meal, and try to include some milk in it as a source of calcium and some fruits and cereals. Number 2 is eat foods with fiber. Choose a variety of vegetables, of fruits like carrots, cooked greens, bananas, and melons. Number 3, take a prenatal vitamin, iron, folic acid, and calcium every single day, because iron prevents anemia and folic acid prevent neural tube defect, and calcium for the health of your bones. Number 4, please stay away from soft cheeses and processed meat. Some food may have bacteria that can hurt your baby, so do not eat soft cheeses like feta cheese or goat cheese. Uncooked or undercooked meat like fish or sushi or any kind of processed meat and cold cuts can have some bacteria like toxoplasma, and it really can hurt your baby. Number 5, which is very logic, avoid alcohol, and please try to avoid caffeine as well. Yes, there is no researchers that proves that caffeine is really harmful, but it's better to avoid caffeine. If you want to drink coffee, please drink some decaf coffee. أعزائي مشاهدات وايت كود في كل مكان، النهاردة هنتكلم على إزاي ناكل كويس أو خطوات بسيطة جدا نقدر نطبقها في نظامنا الغذائي وتقدر تبقى مفيدة جدا أثناء فترة الحمل. رقم 1، بليز من فضلك ما تحاولي ان انت ما تعديش الفطار. لازم كل يوم تحاولي تفطري، حتى لو في اول 3 شهور بيبقى في مشاكل في الترجيع وانه نفسك بتبقى مش قابله اي حاجه، ولكن حاولي قدر الامكان ان انت تاكلي ولو فواكه بسيطه جدا او ان انت تاكلي سيريال، وحاولي قدر الامكان انه يبقى فيه لبن في الفطار بتاعك، لانه اللبن بيبقى مصدر مهم جدا للكالسيوم اثناء الحمل. الحاجه الثانيه، الالياف مهمه جدا جدا جدا، لانه معظم الحوامل احيانا بيصابوا بانواع من الامساك لفترات بتتراوح من يوم ل3 ايام احيانا، وسبيشلي في اول 3 شهور. عشان كده بنصح حضرتك ان انت لازم تاكلي خضار مطبوخ كويس جدا، جزر بكميات كبيره، موز وبطيخ بكميات كبيره، لانه ده في كميه فايبرز بتساعد حضرتك في اول 3 شهور. ثالث نقطة مهمة جدا ان انت لازم تاخدي البرينيتال فيتامينز او الفيتامينز اللي بناخدهم اثناء فترة الحمل. مش بس كده، لازم تاخدي حديد، لازم تاخدي حمض الفوليك او الفوليك اسيد، كمان مهم جدا ان انت تاخدي الكالسيوم زي ما قلت كل يوم، لانه الحديد بيساعد ان احنا نمنع انواع من الانيميا بتحصل اثناء الحمل. الفوليك اسيد بيبقى مهم جدا لسلامة الجهاز العصبي للطفل. في نفس الوقت الكالسيوم مهم جدا لسلامة العظم بتاعك. رابع نقطة ودي مهمة جدا وكتير من الناس ما تعرفهاش، ولكن كل أنواع الجبن الطرية بالذات اللي بيبقى ليها صوص أو دريسنج جنبها لازم نتجنبها تماما، لأنه الجبن واللحوم البروسيسد بالذات زي اللانشون والبسطرمة وكل الحاجات دي بيبقى فيها أنواع من البكتيريا، أشهرهم على الإطلاق التوكسوبلازما. كمان لما حضرتك تيجي تاكلي ستيك أو أي نوع من اللحوم بالذات لما تبقى جريلد، مهم جدا تتأكدي انها مطبوخة كويس جدا، عشان اي نوع من البكتيريا زي التوكسوبلازما على سبيل المثال نتأكد ان هي بره الاكل بتاعنا تماما. الحاجة الخامسة ودي حاجة بديهية جدا، ان احنا نتجنب الكحوليات. مش محتاج اقول لكم تجنبوا الكحوليات اثناء الحمل، حاجة بديهية. بس كمان النقطة اللي عليها ديبيت كبير جدا جدا هي الكافيين او القهوة او الكافيين بشكل عام. كتير ايوه انا عارف انه مفيش ابحاث بتثبت اثبات قاطع انه الكافيين مضر اثناء الحمل، ولكن دايما من الافضل ان احنا نتجنب الكافيين في القهوه والشاي عشان سلامه ضربات قلبك وسلامه ضربات قلب البيبي. فمن فضلكم نحاول نتجنب الكحول تماما والكافيين نهائيا. لو عايزه تشربي قهوه اشربي قهوه ديكاف. In Healthy Kids segment today in Healthy Kids we'll learn about a very, very important topic, which is how to deal with hot-tempered, angry kids. We'll discuss 5 do's and 5 don'ts. And today we'll start with the 5 do's and we'll discuss the 5 don'ts on the next episode. Number 1 do is to recognize and acknowledge your child's feeling. If you validate your child's feeling, then your child does not need to defend those feelings, and it's less likely to respond in anger. Acknowledging feelings cause your child anger to soften and leave safe space in which he or she can learn empathy and coping skills. Number 2 do is to practice empathy. By listening to your child's feeling without interruption or defense, you create space for your child's anger to dissipate, and they no longer need to use their energy defending their fairness of their position. Number 3 is teach your children problem-solving skills. Ask your children questions that prompt the children to think up their own solutions, such as, what do you think and what would happen if you did a choice A instead of a choice B? What sort of options do you think available to you, and what do you need to do to find a resolution for that problem? Number 4 is do establish clear standards for acceptable or unacceptable behavior. There are common rules for engagement, which include no hitting, no throwing, no breaking objects, or disrespect. By involving children in establishing the consequences for those behavior, you will find that your children are more likely to respect the rules. By limiting your children's aggressiveness behavior, you are in a sense in establishing safety container for their feelings. Number 5, and the last one, is to combine time in and time out. Sometimes you need to try time in instead of time out. Therefore, no time out, no isolation. Instead, try time in, sit with your child and ask him questions about their feelings. The important thing is to be fully present with them to help them through their emotions. Only time out policy all the time will decrease their self-esteem. أعزائي المشاهدين، النهارده هنتكلم على موضوع مهم جدا جدا للأطفال، وهو ازاي حاول تتعامل مع طفلك الغاضب أو اللي عنده مشاكل بالذات وبيعبر عن غضبه بطريقة سيئة. هنناقش 5 حاجات تعملها مع أولادك و5 حاجات ما تعملهمش أبدا. النهارده هنناقش ال5 حاجات اللي تقدر تعملهم مع أولادك عشان تتعامل معاهم إذا هم غضبانين أو في مود دايما angry. رقم 1، عليك ان انت تتفهم مشاعرهم وتفهم ان الغضب واحد من وسائل التعبير عن المشاعر، زيه زي الحزن، زي الفرح، زي القلق، فالغضب واحد منهم. فرقم 1، تتفهم ان انت ممكن تدي مساحة غضب مش طول الوقت، ولكن ممكن يبقى دايما في مساحة للغضب. رقم 2 اللي هو بنسميها بلغتنا ان انت تبقى حنين معاهم قدر الامكان، وبالذات مع الطفل الغضبان طول الوقت اللي التمبر بتاعه زايد عن الحد. لانه الحنية صح مش طول الوقت، بس في بعض المواقف ممكن تلين الرياكشن بتاعهم وتخليه سوفت عن الطبيعي. رقم 3، ودي المهمة جدا 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 وبننصح بيها كل الآباء، ان انت الطفل في السن ده طريقة تعبيره الوحيدة عن انه عنده ألم داخلي او عنده غضب هي دايما انه يغضب ويثور. ولكن اذا احنا علمنا اطفالنا ازاي يحلوا المشاكل البسيطة اللي بتقابلهم، وعلمناهم البروبلم سولفينج سكيلز دي اللي هي مهارات حل المشكله، بمعنى ان انت لو مش عارف تشغل اللعبه، بدل ما تغضب وتكسرها، انا ممكن اعلمه ازاي يبتدي يكتشف يشغل لعبته. اي مشكله اقعد مع طفلي وافهمه من سن صغير انه اي مشكله ليها حل، ولكن الغضب مش دايما هو الحل ومش دايما وسيله التعبير المقبوله. رابع نقطه، ودي مهمه جدا برضو، ان انا دايما اقعد مع طفلي وافهمه أنا متفهم غضبك وهسمح بمساحة للغضب، ولكن الغضب ده لا يشمل حاجات محرمة إن احنا نقترب منها مثلا إن احنا بنشوف أطفال تبتدي تضرب في بابا وماما أول ما يبتدوا يغلطوا. الضرب ده أو الهيتنج البسيط ده على اللونج ران بيبقى مؤذي جدا للطفل. ولكن أنا بفهم الطفل إن أنت حتى لو غضبت ممنوع تعمل ده، ممنوع تكسر حاجة، ممنوع تبقى أجريسيف، وممنوع ترمي لعبتك لبعيد، لأنه لو حصل ده هبتدي استخدم التايم اوت ان انا احطه لوحده في اي اوضه لمده 5 دقائق كنوع من العقاب. اذا انت ممكن تغضب وتعبر عن مشاعرك، ولكن بدون اي عنف، لانه ده مهم جدا ان احنا نسيتل ده. وفهم طفلي انه في انواع معينه مقبوله من الغضب وانواع غير مقبوله على الاطلاق. رقم 5، ودي الاخيره، انه دايما اعمل كومبينيشن او دايما تخلط ما بين ان انت مش طول الوقت سياسه العقاب موجوده، ولكن في نفس الوقت ان انا هقعد مع طفلي احيانا واحاول افهمه مشاعره وانا كمان اتفهم مشاعره واوضح له ايه اللي حصل. فدايما نعمل الميكس ده ما بين التايم ان والتايم اوت. التايم ان ان هو ان انا اقعد مع طفلي وابتدي افهم مشاعره، التايم اوت ان انا ابتدي احطه في اوضه او اعزله لمده 5 دقائق. ولكن سياسه التايم اوت اللي احنا بنتبعها على طول مع اطفالنا دي على اللونج ران بتقلل ثقتهم في نفسهم.
optimization nutraceutical product line. Our first product is the Brain Shake, which contains plant-based nutrients to help with energy, focus, vitality, and joy. Our second product is turmeric, which is an Indian spice with anti-inflammatory and brain optimization properties. Our third product is the Brain Honey, which is a very sweet preparation that contains wonderful nutraceutical ingredients, cinnamon, ginger, and turmeric, in addition to the beauty of honey. To buy one of our Brain Tune healthy products, please visit us on the Amazon link as seen on the screen, or visit our website at www.drsunder.com.
لشراء إحدى هذه المنتجات زوروا موقعنا الإلكتروني drsunder.com، أو يمكنكم شراء هذه المنتجات من على موقع amazon.com.
I'm Dr. Keerthy Sunder, Chief Medical Officer of the Mind and Body Treatment and Research Institute and Medical Director of the Breezes Relapse and Recovery Intensive Outpatient Program. I'm a board-certified psychiatrist and integrative physician and creator of Brain Tune, Brain Optimization Program and nutraceutical products. I'm also Assistant Clinical Professor of the UC Riverside School of Medicine and the creator of the first Functional Forum Evolution of Medicine series in Riverside, California. I'm a principal scientific research investigator for FDA-approved clinical trials. I'm the author of Amazon international bestseller, Face Your Addictions and Save Your Life. I co-authored the bestseller, The Success Blueprint, with international speaker Brian Tracy. I began my journey in India, born in the idyllic surroundings of Bhutan, where meditation was a part and parcel of life. Unfortunately, in my early childhood, I had the experience of my beloved mother experiencing severe postpartum depression. That led to multiple challenges in our family, as the principal attachment figure, the mother, was unable to function in the most optimal manner. This ultimately inspired me to be able to target brain and brain optimization as a life goal, as my dear mother continues today to inspire me about integrating the Eastern traditions that were so dear to her and the Western technology and neuroscience, and giving human beings the best chance towards optimizing their lives, recovering from their problems, and fulfilling their lives. My mother's journey was not only integral to my early advancement in obstetrics and gynecology, but also to my movement to the United Kingdom and to train under the auspices of the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists in London, and at high-risk pregnancy units and at the Institute of Psychiatry in London to understand the problems associated with pregnancy and postpartum depression and perimenopausal disorders, conduct research and develop treatment protocols, but also have the good fortune of being recruited by the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine in the US to perform research and participate in a research track of residency training. Today, I'm delighted to be a guest on this show and very happy to be able to share my story and my passion, as well as what we would love to accomplish at the Mind and Body Treatment Institute.
أهلا بكم أعزائي المشاهدين مرة تانية في الفقرة الأساسية في برنامجنا النهاردة، وهي نقص مرض ال ADHD أو نقص التركيز وزيادة النشاط الحركي في الأطفال. الحقيقة بيسعدني إنه يكون معنا واحد من أفضل السايكاتريست اللي هيكلمونا عن الموضوع ده، دكتور كيرثي سوندر. كمان ابعتوا لنا لو في أي حد عنده أسئلة أو استفسارات، يا إما تبعتوا لنا على صفحتنا الرئيسية على الفيسبوك او ان انتوا تبعتوا لنا تكلمونا دايركت عشان تكلموا مع دكتور ساندر النهارده على الارقام الموجوده على الشاشه. It's such a pleasure and honor to have Dr. Sunder today in our show. On the personal level, I'm so happy to have him over, and I'm honored to have him over. It's a pleasure and honor to have you today, Dr. Sunder.
Thank you, Dr. Tamer.
And I don't need to introduce my co-host, Dr. Simon. It's a pleasure and honor to always co-host with him.
And the honor is mine, Dr. Sunder. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you indeed, Dr. Simon. Yeah.
Dr. Sunder, today we're talking about the ADHD. To start with any topic, we have to understand the definition. What is ADHD?
Absolutely. Delighted to introduce the audience to this important topic. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder that begins early in childhood, and its functional impairments can persist throughout adult life if not recognized correctly, diagnosed correctly, and treated correctly. So really it is a dysfunction in the brain, both at the molecular level, at the neurochemical level, and the electrophysiological level.
سؤالي الأولاني لدكتور ساندر كان إذا احنا بنبتدي أي موضوع لازم اتليست نفهم إيه هو تعريف الموضوع ده. فسألت دكتور ساندر سؤال عن إيه هو تعريف ال ADHD أو مرض نقص التركيز وزيادة الحركة في الأطفال. فقال لي إن هو بيبقى مرض في الأعصاب المتوصلة بالمخ، بيؤدي الى انه التركيز بتاع الاطفال بيبقى قليل جدا، مدته بتبقى قليله جدا. يوجوالي معروف عالميا ان احنا كلنا نقدر نركز لمده 55 دقيقه تقريبا. في النوع ده من الاطفال بيبقى تركيزهم شورت تيرم، تركيزهم قليل جدا. كمان ده بيخلي عندهم زياده في النشاط الحركي بشكل كبير جدا، وده بيبقى بنقدر نتعامل معاه بطرق كتير جدا هنشوفها اثناء حلقتنا.
Dr. Sunder, in your definition, you said that there's a molecular component to it. So more specifically, can you tell us the genetic association, or is there any between an ADHD?
Absolutely. When I was referring to the molecular component, I was referring to both the chemistry part of it as well as the genetic component. Chemistry-wise, if you look at one of our beautiful slides there with the dopamine pathways, you will notice that this particular picture gives you an idea about the various chemicals that are involved and that get dysregulated. From the genetic standpoint, what is important to note is that this is not a single gene disorder.
Okay.
You know, what we understand is that it is multifactorial. It's a polygenetic contribution. There is a familial association, so it does run within the familial structure. The monozygotic twin studies that have been done show a high concordance. That means that, again, it proves that there is carry-on from one generation to the other. And a few genes have been identified, in particular the dopamine transporter gene on chromosome 5, another one on chromosome 11, and some association with folks who have some resistance to thyroid, that they might have a predilection for ADHD.
Okay.
سؤال دكتور سايمون كان عن ايه هي اسباب مرض ال ADHD واذا هو بيورث او لا. فالحقيقه دكتور ساندر قال له انه ايوه ان هو بيرن في الفاميليز، يعني اذا عيله فيها حد عنده ADHD او الاب او الام عندهم ADHD most probably انه بيورث في العيله. والحقيقه هم عملوا دراسه جينيه على التوائم المتماثله ولقوا انه بيزيد في التوائم المتماثله عاده. ده نتيجه الجزء الجيني الخاص بيه. وهم الحقيقه لقوا 3 انواع من الجينات بتنقل النوع ده من المرض. رقم 1 الجين مسؤول عن ماده الدوبامين في المخ، وده لقوه على كروموسوم 3. الحاجة الثانية لقوه على كروموسوم 5، وده ده المين جين المسؤول عن الكلام ده. الحاجة الثالثة كروموسوم 11. يبقى إذن احنا عندنا 3 أنواع من الكروموسومات مسؤولة عن نقل ده في الفاميلي، أو عمله كمرض وراثي بيتنقل من الأب للأبناء بشكل عام. إذن احنا مسؤولين عن جين 3، جين 5 وجين 11. My next question is, we talked about ADHD and it has genetic element, as you just mentioned. what are the different types of ADHD?
Absolutely. You know, what we notice is that attention deficit can present itself as inattention. So that's an inattentive type, mainly 3 subtypes. One is the inattentive type. Another one is the hyperactive and impulsive type. And then you have a combined type of ADHD, where you have combined features of hyperactivity, impulsivity, and inattention.
الحقيقة أنا سألته إيه أنواع الأمراض ال ADHD بشكل عام. قال إنه أول واحد هو إن أنت بتبقى مش مركز تماما، اللي هو ال inattention، بعدم قدرتك على التركيز لفترات طويلة. ده جزء لوحده. الجزء الثاني بيبقى عدم قدرتك على التركيز لفترات طويلة ومع زيادة النشاط الحركي، فده بيخليك يعني كمان بتبقى زي مصدر interruption للي حواليك، ان انت ما بيقدروش يركزوا، لا انت بتركز ولا بتخلي اللي حواليك يركزوا. فهو مش بس انت مش مركز، ولكن كمان زيادة في النشاط الحركي بتخلي اللي حواليك مش قادرين يركزوا.
Dr. Sunder, you mentioned that there's 3 subtypes: inactivity or inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. Within those 3, are there specific symptoms that are unique to each one, or that are common to all 3?
It's a great question, you know. Overall, whilst there is a little bit of overlap, by and large, each one of them has certain symptoms that are very characteristic to them. If you had to define ADHD, there are some defining core symptoms, you know. And for instance, in children, you will notice that they will be fidgeting or squirming about, easily distracted, not able to pay attention, you know, talking out of turn, having trouble staying on task, shifting from one task to another, not completing it, being disorganized, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the components of, you know, the overall core symptoms of ADHD.
Okay.
In addition to that, what we notice is that the DSM has, you know, which is the Bible, if you like, of diagnosis, talks specifically about defining each type of category, the inattentive type and the hyperactive impulsive type. By and large, it is believed that 6 or more of the symptoms of inattention need to be present for at least 6 months, and they ought to have happened in at least 2 areas in terms of impairment to be able to diagnose that. And the same applies to the hyperactive and impulsive type.
So does that presence have to be continuous? Does it make an appearance a couple times a week? Is it situational? How do I know that those symptoms are now successfully present in my situation?
Great question again. You know, I think this is an important point to distinguish an overactive child,
right,
you know, who fundamentally is an energetic child, and maybe even an intelligent child,
right,
you know, who essentially is bored from the tasks and so forth, and therefore not paying attention, versus somebody who has got an ADHD, which is inattentive type or hyperactive impulsive type. So there has to be a consistent pattern, you know, over a period of time that is fundamentally impairing their ability in school, in their social relationships, and of course, in the older situations, if they are at work, occupationally as well. So it's got to be consistent, and 6 of those have to be present over a period of 6 months. So it's a, you know, functional impairment of a long duration.
Okay.
I'll go back to the diagnostic criteria.
Absolutely.
Because I have another question, but let me translate that. سؤال دكتور سايمون كان عن ايه هي الاعراض اللي بتبقى موجوده على اطفالنا اللي هم عندهم مشكله مع الاي دي اتش دي، او زي ما انا قلت بالعربي هو مرض نقص التركيز وزياده النشاط الحركي في الاطفال. دكتور ساندر قال الحقيقه انه في كرايتيريا كتيره جدا او اعراض كتيره جدا بتبقى موجوده على اطفالنا، اهمهم على الاطلاق انه ما بيقدرش يقعد في مكان، زي ما احنا بنقول كده بطريقتنا ما بيقدرش يقعد على بعضه لفتره طويله، دايما بتلاقيه بيتحرك. الحاجه الثانيه انه سهل جدا ان انت تشتت انتباهه على اي حاجه، لمبه جنبه شكلها حلو، قاعد بيذاكر ولمبه جنبه شكلها حلو، فبيبتدي يقوم بينجذب لاي نوع من الحاجات اللي بتخليه يطلع بره تركيزه بشكل عام. رقم 3 ودي نقطه مهمه جدا، انه دايما بيتكلم عن كل المواضيع واي موضوع بدون ترتيب. يعني بيدخل في الموضوع زي ما احنا بنقول كده بطريقتنا، بيدخل من موضوع يطلع في موضوع تاني من غير اي ترتيب. الحاجه الرابعه مهمه جدا، انه صعب جدا ان انت تقول له مثلا اعمل الموضوع ده، ان هو يفضل مركز في الموضوع ده ويعمله لحد الاخر. فزي ما احنا بنقول كده بنلاقي اطفالنا بيعملوا الواجب بالقطعه، بيعملوا الواجب على 5 6 قعدات، ما يقدرش يقعد قعده واحده ويعمله زي ما هو. الحاجه اللي وراها المهمه جدا، انه ما بيقدرش، بنلاقي بعض الاطفال بتقدر تقعد تلعب زي ما احنا بنقول كده على الهادي، بيقدروا يقعدوا بهدوء يلعبوا لفترات طويله. النوع ده من الاطفال ما بيقدرش يعمل الحكايه دي، بتلاقيه قايم قاعد بيلعب دايما وفي حواليه دوشه. النقطه اللي وراها المهمه جدا، بيتكلموا زي ما احنا بنقول رغي طول الوقت، بيتكلموا زياده جدا عن الطبيعي. ايوه معظم الاطفال بيتكلموا كتير، ولكن ال ADHD زي ما احنا بنقول ما بيوقفوش. اللي وراها انه مش بس هو لا قاعد هو مركز، يعني زي ما احنا بنقول كده لا بيرحم ولا سايب رحمة ربنا تنزل على اللي حواليه. وبالتالي انه لا هو مركز ولا هو بيخلي اللي حواليه في الفصل يركزوا. ليه؟ لانه دايما يتدخل بسؤال ملوش اي دعوة بالموضوع، وبالتالي بيفقد اي موضوع الترتيب بتاعه. الحاجة اللي وراها ان هم بيبقوا غير منظمين في نفسهم، دايما تلاقي لبسه مبهدل، مش مركز انه دايما يعدل لبسه، ودي بتبقى حاجة في كل اطفالنا فما بنلاحظهاش كتير جدا في الحكايات دي. النقطة اللي وراها واللي مهمة جدا، انه دايما بيبقى ده سلوك منتظم، بمعنى انه موجود في المدرسة وموجود في البيت. يعني مش بس هتلاقيه موجود في مكان، مش موجود في مكان واحد، ولكن هتلاقيه في كل الأماكن اللي هو بيروحها، وهتلاقيه سلوك منتظم. Again, if we can go over the diagnostic criteria, because that's very important to say it like in details.
Yep.
And how we distinguish, again, like what Dr. Simon introduced, between the simply overactive kid and the ADHD.
For sure. I don't know if we could have the benefit of that slide, which has got diagnostic criteria in attention. And that really gives us, that's a good one. And
The next
following
one.
slide, the next slide, yes, please. That basically gives us an idea, as you can see, about the inattentive ADHD, you know, where a child essentially fails to give close attention to details or makes careless mistakes in schoolwork, work, or other activities. There's also difficulty in sustaining tasks or play activities, does not seem to listen when spoken to, has difficulty organizing tasks and activities, does not follow through instructions, fails to finish the schoolwork. You have to remind the child all the time, will not complete the chores. You know, the mother has to be after the child to try and clean up and so on and so forth. Avoids, dislikes, or is reluctant to engage in tasks that require sustained mental effort. Playtime, going on the computer is all good. Study time is not good, you know. Loses things, you know, necessary for tasks or activities. The pencil is lost, you know, the charts are lost.
It's one thing or the other.
Yeah.
Something has to be missing with the
Something has to be. And very easily distracted. That's the inattentive, you know, by extraneous stimuli. You know, so they're watching something and then quickly distracted onto something else. You know, the attention moves and they move from one task to the other task. And that then results in forgetfulness. So that's what causes a lot of tension in the family, because the child has been given a particular task to do, and the child has said, I'm going to do it. And then they forget because they have been distracted by extraneous stimuli. So whilst they are taking in and nodding and so forth, you feel that the child has listened to everything and registered, and then they have forgotten to do the task. And they can't remember because, of course, as we know, at a basic level, there is a problem with neurodevelopment. It is a brain wave issue. It's a brain chemistry issue, which is why when we come laterally to the treatments, we will be talking about how targeted treatments help with correction of this impairment.
But I guess my question to you is, you know, looking at these bullet points, 99% of the children are going to push back on what their mom or their dad is asking them to do. So at what point is that a child just being a child versus now this is clearly an inattention to where this is perhaps a medical situation?
Because now, especially in our schools, they overdiagnose kids. Just to get rid of the headache, simply they tell the parents your kid has ADHD, and just to get rid of their headache and decrease the liability on the school at the same time. So as Dr. Simon said, what's the difference between the ADHD kid and the simply just hyperactive kid, smart kid, intelligent kid, as you said? Is there any, again, diagnostic criteria that we go by just to diagnose?
Yeah, that's a great question again. I think let me clarify this even further, that what is important to recognize is that, A, the consistency of the pattern. Okay. You know, a child who consistently throughout the day has this problem, there are complaints from the teachers or the school about the child being hyperactive, if it's a hyperactive impulsive type, or inattentive. The grades are dropping consistently, and that does not equate to the developmental level of the child and the intelligence of the child. The parent is saying that this child is an extremely intelligent child, you know, however, the child is not able to reach the potential. Whereas an overactive child will essentially have some of the features, but with some nudging, that child will correct those behaviors and will be able to, by and large, achieve their potential. You know, you're not going to be getting the school reports and the complaints from other children and the impulsivity episodes where the child is all over the place and so on and so forth. So both the consistency in terms of the pattern of presentation, the impairment in different areas that are there, whether it is the social connectivity with other children, and whether it is school performance and grades and so forth, and at home as well, that the parents find it extremely difficult to manage this child compared with the other child who maybe, you know, other siblings may not have this particular presentation. Additionally, I will just add, there are rating scales that can be utilized, and psychologists and other clinicians, when parents, you know, are in contact with the teachers refer to a school psychologist and so forth. The assessments are conducted. A very popular one is the Connor rating scale that is used for ADHD, and that provides more systematic, you know, organization of the data, if you like, and assessment in order to really look at how this child has been progressing over a period of 6 months, and then say this is really going in the towards the diagnosis of ADHD.
Perfect. That was like a very clear-cut answer.
Yes.
الحقيقة من الحاجات اللي ضافها دكتور سوندر على كل الحاجات اللي قلناها، حاجة تانية هو بيبقى الطفل مهمل. عادة بنلاقي أطفالنا بتضيع حاجات أحيانا بس مش طول الوقت، ولكن الطفل اللي عنده ADHD دايما بيبقى فيه مظاهر كتيرة جدا للإهمال. بيفقد إقلامه، الأستيكة بتاعته دايما بيرجع بنص حاجاته. مش كل أطفالنا بتعمل كده. أطفالنا في الشكل المعتاد بتفقد مثلا حاجة ولا حاجتين كل أسبوع، ده كل يوم بشكل منتظم لازم يفقد حاجة من حاجاته. الحاجة المهمة جدا اللي قالها دكتور سوندر تاني، إنه إحنا بنلاقي ده موجود زي ما أنا قلت في المدرسة وفي البيت، والأب والأم بيجوا دايما يشتكوا إن هم مش عارفين يتواصلوا مع الطفل ده، مش عارفين يدوله أي تعليمات عشان تنفذها. الحاجة الثالثة المهمة جدا إنه تنظيم حياته ما بيبقاش منظم بشكل عام. طفل فوضوي زيادة عن اللزوم، مش أكتر من باقي الأطفال العادية. الحاجة النقطة اللي وراها المهمة جدا إنه الطفل ده لا ينتبه للتفاصيل على الإطلاق، ما بينتبهش للفروق بين الحاجات. مثلا التست البسيط اللي احنا كنا بنحله زمان واحنا أطفال، إنه أجيب لك صورتين وأقول لك مثلا طلع لي 5 اختلافات بين الصورتين. الطفل اللي عنده ADHD مش هيقدر يعمل ده، لأنه مش هيقدر يقعد ويركز لفترة إنه يقدر يطلع الاختلافات دي. الحاجة التانية اللي بتبقى واضحة جدا كمان فيهم النسيان. ممكن تقول له حاجات كتيرة جدا وهنتعلم نحلها على فكرة في الطرق العلاج. هنعلمكم ازاي نحل ده ونتعامل مع اطفالنا بالشكل ده. ولكن في طرق العلاج ان انت مهما تقول له اديته تعليمات هيفضل يهزلك في راسه ويقول لك انا فاهم وكله ده تمام، بعد 10 دقايق مش هتلاقي اي حاجة من دي اتعملت. سؤال دكتور سيمون وسؤالي كان عن ازاي نفرق بين الطفل اللي عنده ADHD، وده اعتقد انه يعني من اهم اسئله الحلقه ومن اهم نقط الحلقه. ازاي نفرق بين الطفل اللي عنده ADHD والطفل العادي خالص، او اللي هو بس بنسميه شقي او ذكي زياده، الاطفال العاديه خالص. الحقيقه دكتور سوندر قال 4 نقط مهمين جدا. النقطه الاولى انه ده بيبقى سلوك منتظم في البيت وفي المدرسه، زائد انه سلوك مستمر طول الوقت. بمعنى انه الطفل العادي ممكن احيانا يقعد هادي شويه، ده مفيش، ده طول الوقت شغال. الحاجه الثانيه، النقطه الثانيه المهمه جدا، انه الاطفال دي بيبقى الاداء الدراسي بتاعهم سيء جدا والدرجات بتاعهم بتبتدي تنزل والسكول بيرفورمانس بتاعهم بيبتدي ينزل عن الطبيعي. ولكن الطفل الذكي اللي هو شقي بس بتلاقيه عنده زياده في الحركه، ولكن دايما درجاته كويسه، وكل اداؤه الدراسي والمدرسي تمام. النقطه اللي وراها المهمه جدا، الطفل الذكي العادي اللي هو الشقي بس زي ما بنسميه، دايما بتلاقي واجباته اتعملت، الحاجات اللي وراه اتعملت، ميبي بس يبقى فيه زياده في الحركه ولكن مش ADHD. ودي مشكله انه 95% من اللي بيتشخصوا بالADHD ما عندهمش ADHD. انما الطفل اللي عنده ADHD بتلاقي فيه زياده في الحركه ومفيش ولا حاجه من الواجبات بتاع المدرسه بتتعمل، معظم الوقت دايما ما بيقابلش الديدلاينز بتاع واجباته. دي نقطه مهمه جدا ان احنا نفرق ما بين الاثنين. Is there any age that we can go by to diagnose the ADHD? Because like from my practice, especially back in the culture of our countries, we found a lot of kids, they got diagnosed with ADHD in the age of 3 or 4. Is that possible? Is there any age that we can go by?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, particularly considering that now we have had the benefit of not only measuring brainwave activity, but also looking at brain imaging and so forth, and really reviewing some of that data to see where does ADHD, at what age does ADHD begin? So at this point of time, our understanding is that typically a cutoff could be the age of 7. You know, between 3 and 7, it is not unusual for children to be diagnosed and so forth. But I do think that it has to be given, a lot of careful attention needs to be paid before medicating the child and intervening pharmaceutically and so forth, so that a thorough diagnosis has been actually conducted before you move forward and, if you like, place the label of ADHD, which can be a difficult one moving forward.
I think one of the challenges in today's world is that both parents are pursuing their own professional dreams and professional goals. And so in that pursuit, and in their rightful pursuit, one school of thought is that there may be some overdiagnosing of 3 to 7-year-old ADHD cases. What are your thoughts on that scenario?
Yeah, again, a fantastic question, Dr. Simon. I think that overall, there are 2 schools of thoughts about the diagnosis. One, that there is greater awareness of psychopathology in society. So that's one. The second is that there's really much more possibility of diagnosis because we have become more sophisticated in diagnosing early on and capturing some of these diagnoses early on so that we can intervene. But perhaps more importantly, it is true that there may be a rush to overdiagnose. But the flip side of that is that there is also underdiagnosis, particularly of a condition like ADHD, and misdiagnosis. So, we have to pay attention to all these 3 conditions, which is why I think consulting with a specialist and a good child psychologist is imperative when you consider that there can be both, there can be overdiagnosis, underdiagnosis, and misdiagnosis.
And that will lead us to the adult type. But let me translate this very quick. سؤالي كان عن احنا اطفالنا من سن 3 و4 سنين اسهل حاجه سواء هنا جوه اليو اس او بره اليو اس ان احنا المدرسه تشخصهم ADHD عشان تخلص من الصداع بتاع انه اللايبيليتي كمان اللي عليهم. فسؤالي كان لدكتور سوندر في سن معين نقدر نشخص فيه ال ADHD ولا لا؟ قال لي ايوه، انه يوجوالي من سن 4 ل7 سنين ما نقدرش نشخص انه الطفل عنده ADHD، ولكن من سن 7 سنين او من 6 ل7 سنين ده الكلير كات اللي احنا نقدر نشخص فعلا من عنده، ونقدر نحط الطفل على اختبارات معينه اشهرهم على الاطلاق الكارماكار تيست، انه ده اشهر تيست نقدر نشخص بيه ال ADHD، ولكن مش قبل سن 6 سنين او 7 سنين. ده كان سؤال مهم جدا. احيانا قال انه في اطفال بيجيل اوفر دايجنوزد، انه بيتشخصوا ازيد من الطبيعي، اللي هو فكره انه يبقى طفل شقي بس فنشخصه ADHD. قال ده بيحصل كتير زي ما انا قلت، انه ده بيحصل في اكتر من 95% من الاطفال اللي بتتشخص بالADHD. في اطفال اندر دايجنوزد اللي هم بيبقوا فعلا عندهم ADHD وشخصوهم بس على انه بس طفل شقي او حركته زياده. وفي طفل الحقيقه ما بيتشخصش خالص، بيتساب نتيجه انه الاهل ما بي يعني انتباههم ما بيروحش للنقطه دي، او المدرسه انتباهها ما بيروحش للنقطه دي. Our next question.
Yeah, so you were talking about in some cases there's overdiagnosis of ADHD, in other cases there's underdiagnosis of ADHD. In certain situations there's kind of the nuances, the symptoms are not understood. What is the relationship between ADHD and then being diagnosed with something like bipolar?
Yeah, great question, Dr. Simon. I think this is a very important question, because what we are seeing now in the general population is that a lot of children are put on medications, and they are put on medications for both the disorders, for example. So when it comes down to misdiagnosis or overdiagnosis or underdiagnosis, what I was mentioning was that it is important to first of all get this systematic understanding of how the child is doing, have specialists to really assess this and so forth, and to be making sure that the diagnosis is about as accurate as it gets. Now, why is this important? Because what we know is that ADHD can be associated with comorbid disorders, mood disorders, anxiety disorders, oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, and so forth. And both these disorders can coexist at the same time, but at the same time, there could be overlapping symptoms that may confuse the picture. As an example, you asked about bipolar disorder. With bipolar disorder, you have racing thoughts, inability to pay attention, flight of ideas, as well as irritability, right? And
So
you may
those
not.
are the overlapping symptoms.
There are some overlapping symptoms there. The inability to pay attention, happens in both of them.
Right.
And so qualitatively, to separate that is important. One simple way, one criteria that can help is to recognize that mood symptoms overall are not significantly prominent in ADHD.
Right. The spikes.
Right? Exactly. The spikes of mood and so on and so forth. In ADHD, you have inattention, you have the inability, you have impulsivity that happens in bipolar disorder.
Right.
That's where the pediatric bipolar disorder confusion takes place.
Right.
In research settings, they actually use rating scales that are very specific to the pediatric population. Kiddie SADS, is a great rating scale that is used to really separate mood disorders from ADHD and look at it. But that's the key.
سؤال دكتور سيمون كان ازاي نفرق بما انه في اعراض بتبقى متشابهه ما بين مثلا البايبولر ديسوردرز ومرض ADHD. فالحقيقه دكتور سوندر قال له ايوه فعلا في اعراض بتبقى متداخله ما بين الاثنين، ولكن البايبولر بالذات لما بيجي في سن الشباب الصغير بيبقى معاه اكتر ups and downs، ان انت بتلاقي عنده symptoms لزياده النشاط جدا او اعراض زياده النشاط لدرجه الجنون. احيانا بنلاقيها بزياده في الطاقه بشكل زايد جدا، ولكن بيعقبها على طول انه يحصل depression أو بنسميها الابس اند داونز أو السبايك زي ما بنقول. فده بيفرق انه عادة ال ADHD ما بيبقاش معاه فكرة الدبريشن او انه الطفل يبقى داون لفترات زي الباي بولر بيبقى زي ups and downs زي ما بنسميها. ال ADHD بيبقى على طول على الطاقة الزايدة والحركة الزايدة والتركيز القليل اللي فتراته قليلة جدا. فهو ده الفرق الأساسي، لأنه كان عندنا سؤال ازاي نفرق بين الباي بولر وال ADHD. هنطلع لفاصل دلوقتي وبعدين هنرجع مع حضراتكم عشان نكمل انواع ال ADHD اللي موجود في الكبار وازاي هنقدر نعالج ال ADHD.
Brain Optimization Nutraceutical product line. Our first product is the Brain Shake, which contains plant-based nutrients to help with energy, focus, vitality, and joy. Our second product is turmeric, which is an Indian spice with anti-inflammatory and brain optimization properties. Our third product is the Brain Honey, which is a very sweet preparation that contains wonderful nutraceutical ingredients, cinnamon, ginger, and turmeric, in addition to the beauty of honey.
To buy one of our Brain Tune healthy products, please visit us on the Amazon link as seen on the screen, or visit our website at www.drsunder.com.
لشراء إحدى هذه المنتجات زوروا موقعنا الإلكتروني drsunder.com، أو يمكنكم شراء هذه المنتجات من على موقع amazon.com. السؤال جالنا من إحدى مشاهدين البرنامج، بتقول إنه ابنها كان عنده ADHD، كان على دواء اسمه ريتالين، دكتور غيره الكونسرتا، بنشوف ده أحيانا. فأنا هسأل دكتور سوندر السؤال يعني هرجع لها بالإجابة. Dr. Sunder, we got a question from one of our audience. Her son had an ADHD. He was on Ritalin 10 milligram. For some reason, it's not available in the market for now, so the doctor switched them to Concerta. She says it's more expensive and it's not as effective as the Ritalin. Any advices for that?
That's a great point here. You know, depending upon where the person is currently located and so forth, it might be important to revisit, one, if it's an insurance issue, then to revisit insurance, and revisit with a doctor about this particular issue with regard to efficacy, because efficacy is the key. If it is not as effective as Ritalin is, then going back to the Ritalin may be a great opportunity to revisit it. The dosing might be an issue as well, to really look at dose titration. And in addition, there are other stimulant medications that might be within the budget. Vyvanse is a great example that could be used, and non-stimulant medications like Strattera, Wellbutrin could also be tried if costs are a concern.
You mentioned Vyvanse. What do you think of Adderall?
Adderall too, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for reminding. Adderall, Vyvanse, and the non-stimulant medications are all options.
Yeah, also take a look at Concerta extended release. That might be one of the reasons that the efficacy, the bioequivalency may not be the same between the Ritalin dosing and the Concerta dosing.
المشاهدة الكريمة اللي سألت الفرق ما بين الريتالين والكونسرتا، في أدوية رخيصة زي الريتالين. لو الكونسرتا دكتور سيمون قال إنه الكونسرتا بيبقى بس طويل المفعول شوية. الريتالين لو حضرتك مش لاقياه في السوق ممكن تبدليه تاني زي ما دكتور سوندر قال. ممكن دواء تاني اسمه فايفانس. في دواء مشهور جدا وحتى بين الطلبة في الجامعات اسمه أديرول، وبرضه 10 مللي جرام زي ما هو. فدي هتبقى لو الكونسرتا مش جايب نتيجة ممكن تعملي له سويتش للأديرول 10 مللي جرام أو الفايفانس، أو في دكتور سوندر كمان قال ستراتيرا. ده دواء من الأدوية اللي بنستخدمها لل ADHD. Another questions on Facebook for you. One of our audience, his son has ADHD, and he lost over 70% of his hearing, and he's doing cochlear implantation. He's going to do cochlear implantation soon. In this case, do you recommend still to treat for this ADHD with the loss of hearing over 70%?
Complex question. Thank you for this. And very sorry that there's been a hearing loss. Now, do we know whether the hearing loss coincided or was temporarily related to the use of medication?
الحقيقة المشاهد الكريم اللي سأل إن ابنه عنده مشكلة في السمع فقد أكتر من 70% وهيعمل زراعة للقوقعة. ممكن يرجع لنا بالواحد السن بتاع ابنه. الحاجة التانية إذا فقدان السمع ده حصل مع ال ADHD ولا كان سابق لل ADHD، لأنه ده هيفرق في التشخيص. فياريت ترجع لنا ودكتور سوندر هيجاوب سؤالك.
So while we wait for that answer, Dr. Sunder, we've spent a majority of our time today talking about ADHD and the child population. How about adults? Can adults be diagnosed with ADHD?
Thank you, Dr. Simon. Adults are indeed diagnosed with ADHD, except that our understanding is that the origins ought to have happened in childhood. You know, so it's important to actually either go back and obtain collateral information from the family, or, you know, autobiographical information from the adult about performance in childhood, you know, disruptions in, you know, relationships and so on and so forth that happened. Alternatively, to go back to school records and so on and so forth to really get that historical perspective to say that this actually did originate. Because as we understand it, it is a neurodevelopmental disorder. So we were earlier talking about the fact that sometimes it's underdiagnosed. And when it's underdiagnosed, it basically means that, you know, these folks might have missed the boat, so to say, you know. So essentially, you know, they carried through childhood, but reached adulthood, and in adulthood is when they started having problems, you know.
So I guess my question then is, as you collect collateral information and you try to create a profile by reaching out to, let's say, the patient's parents.
Yeah.
And now the parents are in their 70s, and what is their recollection going to be of their child right, from 50 years ago, let's say. So how valuable would that data be?
And adding to this question, what are, like, if they can come out of it, if we have any clear statistics for that?
About whether...
If they can come out of it when they're a child, adults?
I see. Got it. So I think there are two questions. Question one is, how can we go back and gather reliable information?
Right.
And that is indeed a challenge. And it is a problem because the presentation in adulthood is also entirely different, But now that, it's in adulthood that we have captured this, and we don't have historical data, we have to make the best out of collecting that information. That's why you need multiple sources of information, and so forth. So that's one issue. The second issue is what Dr. Tamer brought up, which is, do you manage to cross your childhood
grow out
of it, exactly. Right. So the current evidence from research studies is that somewhere between 60 to 70%, 2/3 or so, actually continue to have some symptoms into adulthood. And some studies show that at least one of those symptoms from your childhood may persist in some format in adulthood and so forth. And it will show itself in functional impairment in relationships, at work, or at school if you're an adult and going to school.
And 1/3 they grow out of it? That means
1/3 could potentially grow out of it, provided, of course, a lot of interruptions did not take place that could have messed with the regulation of the brainwave activities and chemistry.
السؤال دكتور سايمون كان عن هل الكبار كمان بيحصل لهم ADHD؟ دكتور ساندر قال الحقيقة إجابة رائعة جدا إنه أحيانا الأطفال لما بيجيت ميس دايجنوزد وما بيشخصوش في سن مبكر بيكمل معاهم لما يبقوا أدلت، فإحنا بنتخيل إن هو جه في سن متأخر ولكن هو كان جاي من بدري بس ما تشخص. النقطة الثانية المهمة جدا اللي قالها إنه تلت الأطفال اللي بيجي لهم ADHD عند سن 13-14 سنة تقريبا السيمتومز دي بتروح من عندهم، يمكن قال لحد سن 16 كمان. التلت الثاني بيكمل معاه السيمتومز ولكن بتفضل واحدة أو اتنين اللي هو الادلت تايب أو اللي بيجي للبالغين، والتلت الأخير بيكمل عنده ADHD for life، ده اللي لازم يكمل على ميديكيشن حتى وهو كبير. Now we're gonna go to the good news. Now I have ADHD. I was diagnosed. I met the criteria and everything, and all the diagnostic criteria. What is the treatment? How can we manage the cases of ADHD to give our audience the good news?
Excellent, Dr. Tamer. What I would say is hopefully we'll have the benefit of our beautiful slide on the brain and, the pictorial representation that'll guide our audience about the treatment options. Okay. Primarily, let me just say that we have...
It will be on the screen now.
Okay. Primarily, there are three options for us. One is medication, which is pharmacotherapy or drug treatment. Second is psychological approaches. And then you have the alternative, you might argue natural remedies and so on, and other interventions that have shown promise and are just as effective in terms of addressing ADHD,
Which is the neurofeedback, you mean?
Exactly. Neurofeedback and the use of nutritional supplementation, powerful supernutrients for the brain that have shown promise in terms of altering the chemistry of the brain.
And today we have one of the pioneers for the neurofeedback, Dr. Sunder, and the nutraceutical market too. And we'll explain this in details, right? سألت دكتور سوندر السؤال، اوكي دلوقتي انا عملت التست واتطبقت جت عليا الكرايتيريا بتاع السيمتومز دي. اوكي ايه العلاج بقى دلوقتي؟ فقال لي ان احنا في ثلاث محاور للعلاج زي ما بنقول. المحور الاولاني هو العلاج بالادويه وده هنذكر الادويه. المحور الثاني هو العلاج النفسي او السايكوثيرابي. المحور الثالث اللي هو واحد من رواد المجال ده اللي هو النيورو فيدباك والنيوتريشن، ازاي ان احنا نهتم بتغذيه الطفل. يبقى رقم واحد العلاج، تاني حاجه العلاج النفسي للطفل، تالت حاجه النيورو فيدباك وده هنشرحه لحضراتكم بالتفصيل مع الاهتمام بتغذيه الطفل. If we came to the treatment, like what are the medications that we can use to treat ADHD?
Yeah, absolutely. If we are able to jump onto that slide that shows the brain.
Slide one.
Slide one.
Okay.
I think we should really take a look at the dopamine
Yeah,
pathways
exactly.
and the serotonin pathways.
Exactly, because that will guide everybody. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. So as we can see in this slide, you have the front part of the brain, which is the frontal cortex, as it says, and you've got the dopamine pathways and the serotonin pathways. So what we understand from brain scanning research is that the frontal cortex basically is not functioning as well in folks with ADHD.
Okay.
This is consistent in MRI studies, PET studies, functional MRI studies, and so forth, that there is hypoactivity going on in bilateral frontal cortices. Okay. So the ability to communicate to the limbic system, if you like, is functionally not so efficient. Okay. The second part of it is that the impulsivity control requires us to apply our free will, that is to recruit the front part of the brain, you know, to regulate the middle part of the emotional brain and say, don't do it.
Right.
You know, that basically is missing. So this child will blurt out an answer out of turn, you know, impulsively, interrupt you. And so the mother is saying, you know, keep quiet. And of course, the child is blurting whatever they want to blurt.
In adults, how does that show up?
Say that again.
In adults, how does that show up?
Oh, in adults, basically, you know, the impulsivity will show up in terms of, you know, you're sitting in a meeting and so on and so forth, and you're supposed to appropriately basically conduct the meeting. However, you will essentially say something that is inappropriate, you know. In adults, a lot of the ADHD presents itself as executive dysfunction, inability to prioritize, being relatively disorganized, coming late for the meetings, you know, those kind of. So there is a shift in terms of the hyperactivity gets attenuated or, you know, becomes lesser and lesser, and the other inattentive components and so on and so forth, they become more prominent, if you like, right?
And back to the medication. What are the medications that we can use? And I have the slide ready here.
Yeah, absolutely. So with regard to the medications, as we saw, there is not only a hypoactivity in the frontal cortex, but there's a deficiency in terms of how much dopamine is really working.
Okay.
So the medications that are classically used are the stimulant medications. And in the stimulant medications, you will notice are Ritalin, Concerta, Adderall, Vyvanse, and so on and so forth. What they do basically is improve the amount of dopamine transmission at the nerve endings in the part of the brain that requires it. And therefore, they decrease your hyperactivity and improve your attention and concentration.
And quick question regarding the difference between the stimulant and non-stimulant, like Straterer.
Absolutely. So the stimulant medications, basically, if you like, are stimulating that part of the brain that releases or increases the amount of dopamine between nerve cells. The non-stimulants essentially are, you know, inhibiting certain, you know, neurotransmitters from being uptaken, if you like, and so forth. So they are not necessarily stimulating any part of the brain for the release of more of the substance. And so it's a different chemistry.
Before I translate, we have a phone call for you. So
we'll take that.
احنا نقدر نستقبل كل مكالمات حضراتكم على الارقام الموجوده قدامنا. فلو حضراتكم عندكم اي اسئله اتصلوا وابعتوا لنا على الارقام اللي ظاهره على الشاشه. الحقيقه سؤالي كان دكتور سوندر وهو بيشرح قال ان المشكله دايما في السلايد الاولى، المشكله دايما بتبقى موجوده في الجزء الامامي من المخ او الفرونتال كورتكس زي ما بنسميها. المشكله الجزء اللي احنا بيشاوروا عليه بالسهم ده هو اللي فيه المشكله، وهو اللي بيعمل مشكله التركيز والبروسيس العقلي للتفكير بشكل عام. لما نيجي للميديكيشن في السلايدز اللي وراها، عندنا نوعين من الميديكيشن. النوع بيشتغل على الجزء اللي موجود قدامنا ده على الشاشه زي الريتالين والادرول والكونسرتا والفايفانز كمان. ده النوع من الادويه ما بيشتغلش غير الكابسولز نفسها، ما بتفتحش غير لما ينزل في المعده عشان يتجنبوا فكره الادمان واساءه استخدامه زي ما بنسميه، او الديبندنس عليه، التعود عليه. النوع الثاني اللي هو ما بيسببش استثاره للفرونتال كورتكس زي الاستراتير. المشاهده الكريمه اللي كانت بتسال لو الكونسرتا غالي ممكن تروحي زي ما قلنا للادرول او الفايفانز اللي هو الرابع اللي مش موجود قدامنا على الشاشه، هم موجودين كلهم على اليمين، او تروحي للنون ستيمولانت تايب زي الاستراتيرا، بس بما ان هو ابتدى على الادرول على الريتالين غالبا هيبقى احسن حاجه تستبدليه بيها ورخيص زي الريتالين هو الادرول. Now we have a phone call. Okay, we have a phone call.
Okay.
We have Mona from Canada. Mona, تفضلي.
Hi. I have a question in regards to my son.
Sure.
When he was 5, he was diagnosed as ADHD, and kind of the school forced us to give him the Ritalin. So he had Ritalin for about 5 years.
Okay.
He changed 7 schools. We always had problems in the school. So even like when he was 13 years old, the school said it's okay. We don't need to give him the medicine anymore. And he was integrated to a regular class because he was always in a special class. He still has some behavior issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of wondering now if he has bipolar and not ADD. He's not hyper anymore. Like he used to be very hyper when he was young. He doesn't have that anymore.
Okay.
But his evening was always better than his morning. So that's something that's noticed by everybody. But the thing
do you
is
have
now,
questions?
when he has a very good mood one day, I would know that the next day he would have a very bad mood, which
Okay.
is what happens.
So he's moody.
Is it bipolar disorder?
Is it a bipolar disorder? That's your question?
Yeah, like if he's in a very good mood in one day, and he would be very nice one day, and the next day he would be in his worst mood.
Okay.
And I know it. Like I know that because he was nice today, now he's 25 actually.
Okay.
So I would know that tomorrow he will have his worst day.
Okay. Dr. Stay with us online. Dr. Sunder will answer your question. And do you have any questions for her?
No, thank you, Mona, for your questions. Absolutely. You know, I think what is important to know is obviously he has crossed that neurodevelopmental period, if you like, which
Right.
is fantastic. And now we have a new clinical presentation.
Right.
And I think it's so important as an observant mother, you know, you become very aware of the changes that have taken place. It's important to know if he's not currently on any stimulant medications and so forth, then I think it's important to actually do a systematic diagnostic assessment in the hands of a good adult psychiatrist, because now he has reached adulthood.
He's 17
And
now.
really, exactly, you know, and to really look at the diagnosis and whether it is functionally impairing him. Are there other factors that are impinging his mood, right?
Mona, she's still with us?
Yeah.
Did you hear Dr. Sunder's question? Is it really impairing his function like day to day? Does it interrupt his daily activities, going to school, for example, communication with people? Does it affect that?
He went to the university for 3 years, and he changed from one university to another university. He's very smart when it comes to video games and stuff like that.
We're sure of that.
And stuff when he was 7. But he's not really, he doesn't have patience to sit and study.
So it seems like it's impaired his...
That's a great point, Mona. We'll be coming down to talk about alternative treatments as well, such as neurofeedback and nutritional supplementation that could help a person with their brain regulation, if you like. But I think I will finish by saying that it is important to distinguish in the hands of a good adult psychiatrist who understands ADHD to really distinguish whether ADHD symptoms have now progressed to a different form, which is the adult form of ADHD, or whether there is bipolarity, or both of them are happening at this time, and therefore what needs to be done clearly, and what is the time frame that is necessary to make that observation before any more treatments are instituted.
Mona, would that answer your question, or do you have any other questions?
I have one more question,
Sure.
if possible.
Yeah, sure.
Do they have to do like MRI on the brain to find out these things?
A great question, Mona. At this point of time, there are no specific diagnostic markers with MRI or PET scans or functional imaging that can pinpoint. And I think that the research is progressing rapidly at the best centers in terms of really identifying, but really it is much more about a clinical diagnosis aided by detailed neuropsychological tests in order to really look at the functional deficits that are there. And so there is a mood disorder questionnaire when it comes to bipolar disorder, and there are rating scales with regard to ADHD. And I think I would certainly suggest, given that he's at that critical juncture of being 25 and moving into young adulthood, that you actually see a good psychiatrist and a good psychologist to really clarify that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Not at all. Pleasure.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you for calling in. And the good news is Dr. Sunder will be with us next episode to continue talking about the ADHD, and we'll link to the psychostimulant dependence, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the good news, where we have another episode. The next episode will continue talking about the ADHD, the treatment, and how can we link the treatment people who get dependent on those medications. زي ما انا قلت يعني الحاجه الكويسه انه الدكتور كيرثي سوندر موجود معانا كمان الحلقه الجايه عشان نخلص موضوع الاي دي اتش دي خالص. كمان هنتكلم على الميديكيشن، لانه زي ما قلنا للمشاهدين دلوقتي في ميديكيشن زي الريتالين والادرال والفايفانس، والمشكله في دول انه الناس بتبتدي تتعود عليهم وبيسببوا نوع من الادمان اللي هو السايكوستيمولانت ديبندنس. انه الناس بتبتدي تتعود على ده، مش بس بتكمل على الريتالين والادرال، بتروح لنوع تاني اسمه كريستال ماثامفيتامين، ده موجود في السوق والناس بتبتدي تتعود عليه، وبعدين تبتدي تروح للحبوب الهلوسه زي ال LSD والميثيلين والانجل داست. كل الحاجات دي هنناقشها معاكم المره الجايه. all the psychostimulant we'll talk about next
anabolic
week.
steroids.
And anabolic steroids. So هنتكلم على كل ده الحلقة الجاية، ولكن دلوقتي أنا بس عندي زي ما أنا قلت إنه العلاج هيبقى أدوية زي ما شرحناها دلوقتي. الجزء الثاني من العلاج هيبقى إن إحنا نعلم الأسرة إزاي تتعامل مع الولد أو البنت اللي عندهم ADHD. The second part is family education, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, like Mona was asking, what are other ways to support children coping with ADHD, or young adults coping with ADHD, or where they're the borderline ADHD versus bipolar?
Yeah, if you want to look at your camera and give advices to the parents, how to deal with their kids that has ADHD, how would you educate the family to deal with it?
Absolutely. Thank you for this, Dr. Simon and Dr. Tamer, because I think that the key is that all parents are fundamentally concerned to not over-medicate their children, you know. And I think that is a very reasonable concern, because the brain activity is at its robustness in the early childhood, and you want to basically keep it growing in the right way. But on the other hand, you also have to recognize that there is pruning of the neurons going on, so you want to make the right kind of connectivity as well. So behavioral interventions are crucial. What are they? Essentially, what we have to recognize is a non-judgmental, loving, compassionate support.
The instructions that the parent give to their children, do you have recommendation how it would be? Like how?
Absolutely. We have a wonderful slide, perhaps, that we can touch upon, which is slide number 12, which tells us about how to support the children coping with ADHD. You know, provide structure and consistency, use clear communication, and give one direction at a time with eye contact. The eye contact is extremely important because the child is inattentive.
Right.
You know, so it's extremely important to not look away and expect that the child is taking it all in. Provide an uncluttered, calm environment and atmosphere for studying. You don't have 20 things on the table and so on and so forth. You want to make that very, very clear. Give ample warning before you expect the child to change the activities. Be in good communication with the others that care for the child, and be consistent. The teachers, other children, and so forth. Offer love and support as the child tries to meet expectations in life.
السؤال كان زي ما أنا قلت إنه أول جزء من العلاج هو الأدوية، اتكلمنا عليها بالتفصيل. الجزء الثاني إن إحنا نعلم الأسرة إزاي تتعامل مع أبنائها. هقف عند الجزء ده النهارده، هنقوله تاني الحلقة الجاية وهترجمه لحضراتكم الحلقة الجاية، لأنه هيبقى معانا نفس الضيوف. بشكركم جدا على تواصلكم وتفاعلكم معانا على مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي سواء الفيسبوك، أو زي ما أنا قلت هتقدروا تشوفوا كل الحلقات اللي فاتت على الكرمة ويب سايت نفسه. الحاجة التانية اللي عايز أقولها إنه الإعادة هتبقى بكرة الساعة 4 لأنه حصل فرق في تغيير في الساعة هنا. بكرة الساعة 4 بعد الظهر، ويوم الثلاث هتبقى الساعة 8:30 بالليل بتوقيت كاليفورنيا، بكرة الساعة 4 بتوقيت مصر. بشكركم لحسن استماعكم النهاردة وتفاعلكم معنا. It was a pleasure to have Dr. Keerthy Sunder over, and an honor and pleasure to have my co-host Dr. Simon. It was a wonderful episode. Thank you so much for it.
Thank you, Dr.
And we're
Sunder.
looking forward for the next episode to be with us.
Absolutely. Delightful. Thank you.
بنشكركم أعزائنا المشاهدين، ونشوفكم الأسبوع الجاي. هنكمل موضوعنا عن ال ADHD وكمان عن إدمان السايكوستيمولانت اللي جزء منها بيبقى علاج ال ADHD. ابقوا معنا وهنشوفكم الأسبوع الجاي على خير إن شاء الله.